Today I'm playing Howley Hall in Leeds. I've played this course once before after playing golf for about 3 months and carded a score of 115. So today's conservative target is to break 100 and ambitious target is to break 90. The first hole's a par 4, fairly straight. The tee shot here is leaked to the right just before the bunker. My approach shot is about 85 yards over this bunker to the first of 13 temporary greens. Putting back towards the pin, and you can see I leave this one a long way short, not being able to get the pace of these temporary greens, having spent 15 minutes practicing on a normal putting green. Obviously the next putt goes flying past the hole, and this is a man you're going to see get progressively more frustrated with these temporary greens as we go through the round. And obviously he misses the third putt and drops it finally for a 4-putt double bogey. Frustrating start. So the reason for all the temporary greens is that they're working on the normal greens, and as you can see here they're completely covered in sand, so are completely unusable. The second hole again is a fairly straight par 4, and as before my tee shot leaks slightly to the right, dealing with a bit of a slice today. Simple 50-yard pitch to the pin that I managed to blade out to the back of the green, 10 yards past. Here you can see me trying to chip this back on, and unfortunately it just gets caught up in the rough just before the temporary green, but I'm able to chip this next shot, and this one goes quite nicely and leaves a simple tap in with the wedge. The third hole is fairly straight too. It dips down and then back up, so the tee shot finds sort of the dip of the valley in the middle of this fairway. 144 yards to the pin. Unfortunately this 8-iron is a good shot but just leaks slightly left. I think if it had been on target I could have been dancing, but I've just caught this greenside bunker, and that's probably one of the best bunker shots you're ever going to see me play. Giving me a look at par on a real green, the only real green that I'm going to play in the first 14 holes of this round, and obviously I leave this one short and then drop it for a bogey. Next is a short par 3 that's made even shorter by the temporary green, so we're looking at about 125. I hit a 9-iron fairly well on line, and this lands about 130 yards, giving me a tricky putt for a birdie here on a terrible green. Somehow though I managed to read it well enough and drop this for the first birdie on this channel. That's a happy man. The fifth hole here, again I leak this tee shot out to the right and find the middle of the trees. The fairway of this hole runs alongside the practice driving range, so there's balls flying past my head on the right hand side here. You might see me get distracted. I chip this one back into play, giving me a look at the pin, but I managed to chunk this shot just short of the bunker, leaving me about 110 yards in, which is a nice 9-iron for me, but I catch this one really well, and this one lands in the bunker past the temporary green. So again, chipping out of a bunker. This one doesn't go quite as well, catching up just in the fringe before the temporary green. Putting downhill towards the pin. Relatively happy with that one considering. And miss that one for the 7. And record a very disappointing quadruple bogey after a birdie. Hole 6. This is sort of a slow curve to the right, this hole. It's a par 5. Decent tee shot this time, downhill. The next shot you have to sort of carry this road that's elevated. I've got caught behind this before, so hit this one very well. And it leaves me a small pitch in to the temporary green, which doesn't go too badly, just catching the left hand side of it. longish putt for birdie, which goes a little bit past, but again managed to read these temporary greens and record a par. 7th hole, again another straight one, and again I leak this one out to the right and catch the trees. Totally not being able to work with my slice today. Again I punch this one out just further down the fairway. Leaving me a 90-yard pitch on, which I managed to leave short.
Bit left.
Putting from quite a way away on these temporary greens again. Again, that's not terrible. And managed to drop this one for a bogey. Hole 8 is a very short par 3, down to 88 yards with a temporary green. So I hit a 56 degree, and this one goes really quite well, leaving me a short chip to the hole, which just slides by, giving me a nice par putt, which just drops through the side door.
Watch its feet there.
Hole 9 is a dogleg left. Finally a decent tee shot. It's quite high, so not the longest, but 220 yards in a straight line I'll take at this point. Leaving me a 5-iron into the green, which again I catch quite chunky, reducing the distance, but leaving me a 35-yard pitch in, which unfortunately I overhit, catching the front of the actual green past the temporary green. The putt's not too bad, leaving me with a simple bogey putt. So at the halfway point, I'm relatively happy with the score on the card, except the blow-up hole on the 5th, especially considering I'd played 8 temporary greens out of 9 holes at this point. If I could post this score again on the back 9, I would be able to beat my ambitious target of breaking 90 onto the back 9. Hole 10 then, a straightish par 4, and again, as the theme of this video goes, I sliced my tee shot into the trees. I tried to punch this one out, but unfortunately I catch the trees and actually only end up making about 20 yards. It does give me a decent shot through the gap of the trees with the 8-iron, which I catch really well and just hit slightly past the temporary green. Long putt back towards the temporary green, which is left quite a long way short. Difficult one now. Which I had very little confidence in making, and thought it might have dropped there when it hit the pin, but leaves me a simple tap in for a double bogey. Hole 11's another straight par 4, and again I sliced my tee shot into the trees. Punch this one out and just narrowly missed the bunker there on the left hand side of the fairway, but it gives me an awful shot. So I'm actually quite happy that I even make contact with that ball, just punching that back out into the fairway. 50-yard pitch towards the temporary green pin, and this one becomes really close, pitching just before the pin and rolling past it, giving me a bogey putt, which I narrowly miss. Hole 12 has been vastly reduced due to the temporary green. I think there's about 120 yards off this one. The tee shot's not too bad. Again, I'm in the bushes, but I do have a line towards the green and managed to pitch this one somewhat close. Second birdie putt of the day technically, and narrowly missed this one. But I do manage a par, moving on to the 13th.
Par
The 13's usually a bit of a dog left-right, but it's fairly straight now with the reduced size of this hole given the temporary green. Tee shot goes okay, quite high but straight. Then a 7-iron towards the temporary green, I chunk again, losing distance, leaving me about a 40-yard pitch into the temporary green. And this one doesn't go too badly at all, right on line. What looks like an easy putt for a birdie is ruined by these temporary greens. Again, that's an angry man who's getting very frustrated with these temporary greens at this point. Hole 14, a little par 3. Again, this is reduced because of the temporary green in front of the normal green. Decent-ish shot here with the 9-iron, just leaking out to the right, leaving me a little wedge chip on, which I catch a little bit heavy and don't get the greatest bounce, and it rolls past. Narrowly missed this for par, leaving me a simple bogey putt. Hole 15's quite a long par 4. I hit a decent tee shot here, out towards the right just before a fairway bunker. 4-iron now, looking to just lay up in front of the green. This goes okay, I do catch it a little bit chunky, but not too mad with that. Simple 50-yard pitch here that I completely blade across the green in front of the clubhouse towards some seated club members. I'm now having to chip against the clubhouse wall, and this goes okay, just catching the front edge of the actual green on the 15th here. This leaves me a tough chip with the downhill green, and as you can see the ball runs a good bit past the pin, leaving me an uphill putt, which, given all the temporary greens, I'm quite happy with how I judged that one. I had a triple bogey on this par 4. Hole 16 is a par 5, a long straight par 5. This tee shot is skied a bit, only reaching 190 yards, but it's not in the trees, so I'm quite happy with that. Simple 7-iron, just looking to get there in 2, 140 yards, just on the right hand side of the fairway, leaving me another 7-iron into the green, which I just miss on the left hand side. And as you can see, as I approach my ball here, the normal green is surrounded by a little bit of water, and I've just missed it. The temporary green just in front of that to the right hand side, so quite happy with that. I'd been judging my distances using a little GPS system, and obviously it didn't know where the greens were at this point, so I was just trying to deduct sort of 20-30 yards from wherever this was telling me to hit, so I got lucky there. Simple chip onto the temporary green, and then a 2-putt. Not too mad with that bogey at all.
Can't be mad at 2 putts.
Hole 17 is a dogleg par 4, and again I hit this one out slightly right but get a little bit lucky. Not a terrible lie, just in the line of the trees, but I do top this one and again get a little bit more luck. It leaves me a simple pitch on, which I don't do too badly with, and hit it just past the pin. Putt for par then. Not too far away, and leaves me a simple bogey putt. On to the 18th. This is a nice par 3 looking down back towards the clubhouse. I hit a 4-iron and unfortunately just catch this a little bit chunky, and it lands in the bunker on the front edge of the green. Again, just trying to splash this onto the front of the green, and this doesn't go too badly either. Played out of the bunkers quite well today, giving me at least a look at par on the 18th, and judge this one really nicely, but just not quite long enough. Leaving me a simple bogey putt to wrap up this round. 20 over, giving me a score of 91. So I finished with the score of 91. Very happy with the score considering all the temporary greens that I've had to play today. I think if my tee shots would have been up to a little bit more, then I probably would have been able to get this score below 90. I sliced a lot of tee shots today, playing out of trees, which cost me not only distance off the tee, but there was a good 4 or 5 holes where I've had to punch out of trees going directly sideways, and obviously not making any ground towards the pin. So definitely something to practice at the range over the next couple of weeks. But given the massive improvement down from 115 playing this course 4 to 6 months ago, I'm very happy with the overall score. So I hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know what you think down below, and I'll see you next time.